Have you ever felt like no matter how much you do, it is never enough? Like you are constantly waiting for someone else to tell you that you're doing great before you actually then believe it? Yeah, same. But the thing is, self-love isn't just about taking a bubble bath after a really long day or these self-care routines that we see all over the internet. Self-love is actually about rewiring your brain to believe that you are enough without that external validation. So today we're going to be talking about how to stop chasing approval and start trusting yourself instead. First things first, let's break down why we actually seek that approval in the first place. Because let's be real, we don't wake up one day and just decide, do you know what? I'm going to base my entire self-worth and opinion on myself on what others think of me. No, we've been conditioned since childhood, especially as women, to seek approval from others. This has come in the form of beauty standards, the magazines, the random aunties commenting on your weight or how you look at events. We've been fed this idea that being pretty equals being worthy. And it's the same for when it comes to career expectations. We're told to be ambitious, but not too ambitious. Work hard, but don't make others feel uncomfortable. Chase success, but please stay likable. And don't get me started on the family and cultural pressures. Especially as a South Asian girly, you guys know what I'm talking about. These expectations, they are layered. Be independent, but not too independent. Be successful, but don't forget your family duties. Get married, but precisely at the right time. And if you don't follow that script, suddenly everyone has an opinion. It is no wonder that so many of us struggle with trusting ourselves because we've essentially been taught that our happiness lies in the hands of other people's approval. But there are big hidden costs to seeking external validation. And I get it, this validation does feel good and it is human to want reassurance. But when we start depending on that, that's when the problem starts. Because you start becoming addicted to the praise. And if your self-worth is tied to these compliments and approval, but when those compliments and approval stop, are you less worthy as a person? Absolutely not, but you are going to feel like you are. Your fear of failure will also start to take over. When you are scared of disappointing people, you stop taking risks. You start playing small and playing it safe, and that also means holding yourself back. You also will fall into the people-pleasing trap, saying yes when you really want to say no, just to avoid upsetting somebody. But all this does is teaches you to just ignore your own needs. So the truth is, when we chase external validation, we are giving away our power essentially. But the good news is that we can take it back. So how do we shift from this external validation to internal self-worth and self-love? The first step is you have to become okay with learning to disappoint people. And I know no one likes disappointing others, especially if you grew up in a culture where being the good girl meant that you were keeping everyone else happy at the expense of yourself. Here's the thing, sometimes disappointing people is actually necessary in order to stay true to yourself. Let's say you don't want to go to an event, but your friends are pressuring you to. Saying no to them might disappoint them, but you are honoring your own needs at that point in time. Maybe you choose a career that actually excites you rather than the one that your parents want you to choose. Might be really uncomfortable at first, but your happiness matters. Or maybe you start setting a boundary with a friend who constantly drains you whenever you're around them. Now, they might not like that, but at the end of the day, you deserve relationships that actually uplift you. Here's the thing, not everyone is going to understand your choices, but that is totally okay. Say it with me now. I am not responsible for managing other people's emotions at the expense of my own well-being. Now, let's be real. Most of us overthink every single decision we make because we don't trust ourselves. We second guess. We need a million different opinions. We worry if we're making the right choice. Girl, you already have all the answers. You just need to start listening. Try this. The next time that you are wanting to seek advice, just for a split second, check in with yourself. And instead of running to see what your friends think and what their opinions on the situation are, just sit with yourself for a minute and think about, what are my own thoughts on this situation? Try and start making small decisions without overthinking them. Whether that's picking an outfit, choosing a restaurant, practice trusting your own judgment. Next, I want you to pay attention to how things make you feel, not just how they look on paper. Your intuition is a real thing. If something feels off to you, even if it might make sense logically, listen to your gut feeling. The more you start trusting yourself, the less you are going to need validation from anyone else. And over time, you're going to start realizing that the only approval that you need in life is your own. Say it with me now. I trust myself to make the best decisions for my highest good. Okay, now let's be real for a minute here. Shifting from having this external validation to having this core inner self-worth, it's not going to happen overnight, okay? It's a daily practice. It's a mindset shift. And most importantly, it's a choice that you have to make. So let's break down how you're going to start trusting yourself and build that unshakable self-love. Number one, you are going to reframe your self-talk. You're going to catch those negative thoughts right where they are, and you're going to replace them with self-trusting affirmations. You know that little voice that you get in your head sometimes that tells you you're not good enough or worries about what if you fail? Yeah, we're not listening to her anymore. That voice is fear disguised as logic, and it's just been conditioned by years of seeking that external approval. So instead of us letting those thoughts run wild and run the show, we're going to flip the script. So if you have a thought similar to, I can't do this, what if I mess up? We're going to change that immediately to, I trust myself to figure things out and I am capable. If you have a similar thought to, well, no one noticed my hard work, so maybe it wasn't good enough. We are going to flip that to, my efforts matter, even if no one else sees it, and I am proud of myself. Now, at first, this is going to feel weird, okay? But just like going to the gym is going to strengthen your body, these affirmations are going to strengthen your mindset. Okay, step number 2 is to do things for you. Make decisions based on what you truly want, not what looks good to other people. Just be honest with yourself for a minute. How many times have you actually gone ahead and done something just purely for the fact that it looked good to other people? Maybe you posted something online because you thought it was going to get a lot of likes. Maybe you took a job because it sounded impressive, not because you actually had any interest in doing that role. Maybe you said yes to plans when you actually would rather have sat at home by yourself. What you need to start asking yourself is, if no one else was looking or no one else was there, would I still choose this? Step number 3, you need to start setting boundaries. I know this term is so overused, but it is so valid and it is really important. You need to start loving yourself enough to walk away from situations that drain you. Listen, protecting your energy is not selfish, it is self-respect. So if someone is constantly draining you or making you question your self-worth or forcing you to shrink yourself just to keep the peace, it is definitely time to set those boundaries. That could look as simple as just saying no, with no further explanations. It could look like distancing yourself from people that are constantly taking from you and never give back. It could be something like just removing yourself from conversations that make you feel small. And I know firsthand, this can feel really hard at first, especially if you have that people pleaser nature and you are just used to people pleasing. But here's the truth of the matter. The people who respect you will also respect your boundaries. And those that get upset about them, they're the ones that were benefiting from you having no boundaries in the first place. So why on earth would you want those people to remain in your presence? Say it with me now. I do not have to tolerate anything that drains my energy or makes me doubt my worth. Okay, step number 4, we're going to start celebrating the small wins. This is a very underrated practice to have when it comes to self-love, because you need to start validating yourself daily and not waiting for others to do it for you. One of the biggest mistakes that we can make is waiting for those big milestones to give ourselves a second to feel proud of ourselves. Sis, your self-worth is not just about your accomplishments and your achievements in life. It's about your progress, your growth, the effort that you're making every single day. So start celebrating those little things. You woke up and chose yourself today. That's a win. You set a boundary with someone today. That's also a win. You did something that scared you and pushed yourself through it. That is a huge win. Every time that you acknowledge your own efforts, you're teaching yourself that your own validation is enough. And you don't need a standing ovation all the time. Sometimes a simple, I'm proud of me, is enough. Now, at the end of the day, shifting from that external validation to that internal self-worth, it's one heck of a journey. Some days you're going to feel so confident and strong. Other days, you're really going to be fighting with yourself and holding the urge back to not slip into old ways of seeking that approval from others. But that is okay. What matters is that you keep coming back to yourself. You keep reframing those thoughts, you keep making choices for you, and you keep setting those boundaries confidently. Because girl, you are already enough. So the quicker that you believe that, the more unstoppable you are going to be. Well, that is it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments, what is one way you have learned to love yourself more? I would love to know. I would love to hear about your journey, so do let me know. I really hope you also enjoyed the video, and I hope it gave you some inspiration on how you can pour that love back into yourself, because it is so freaking important. I cannot emphasize it enough, and I will make as many videos as I can trying to send you the same message until you get it, because that is how important it is. I'm gonna love you and leave you now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye guys.